My wife's lawyer demanded the house, the 401k, and the dog. I replied, okay. Then my lawyer showed the judge the prenup and the hidden cam footage of her admitting she was a Russian spy. Her face when the federal agents entered the courtroom. I, 44 male. For the last 10 years I was married to Anya, 38. Or at least I thought I was. Our life was comfortable. I work in cybersecurity for a large tech firm that handles a lot of sensitive data. Nothing top secret, just boring corporate architecture. Anya was, or so she claimed, a geopolitical risk consultant. It was a vague job that involved a lot of travel, expensive dinners, and important-sounding phone calls. She was charming, spoke 3 languages, and always had a plausible, sophisticated answer for everything. She was also the one who insisted on a prenup. She had, she said, significant family assets to protect. I had my 401k in this house, so I agreed. It seemed smart. About 6 months ago, things got weird. She became incredibly secretive with her new laptop. Late-night client calls from our home office. She'd get texts and have to leave the room. The classic signs. I assumed what any guy would. She was having an affair. It ate at me. After a particularly cold and distant business trip, I did the thing I'm not proud of. I bought a high-end nanny cam, the kind that looks like a USB charger, and plugged it into the wall outlet in our home office. I just wanted to know. I expected to catch her sexting, or maybe bringing someone home. I got the first alert on my phone 2 days later. I opened the live feed. She was in the office, but she wasn't with a lover. She was on a video call, speaking fluent, rapid-fire Russian, a language I had no idea she knew. I watched for an hour, my blood turning to ice. I couldn't understand most of it, but I didn't need to. The tone wasn't of a lover. It was cold, all business. I heard her use words I did recognize from my cybersecurity training: firewall, extraction, package, and asset. Then she switched to English, clearly for effect, to the person on the other end. "He's just a useful idiot," she said, laughing. That laugh, it wasn't my wife's. "His network access is the perfect cover. He suspects nothing." I stopped the recording and sat in my car in the driveway for an hour, shaking. This wasn't an affair. This was something else. Something terrifying. I wasn't just a cuckold, I was a useful idiot. I spent the next 2 weeks in a cold panic. I methodically downloaded every recording. I backed them up on 3 separate drives, which I hid. I went to work. I made dinner. I petted our dog, Shep, a retired police canine I adopted years before Anya. He'd been acting weird around her lately. Low growls when she entered a room. I used to shush him. Now I wanted to apologize. I was paralyzed. Who do you even call? The police? The CIA? I was just a regular guy. I was terrified of her, of the people she was talking to. Then she made the decision for me. I got an email last Tuesday. Not from her. From a Mr. Slade at a high-powered law firm. Subject: Anya's last name, my last name. Dissolution of marriage. Mr. My last name, please be advised that I represent your wife, Anya. She has filed for a dissolution of our marriage. She will be vacating the marital home today. From this moment forward, all communication is to be directed exclusively through my office. Any attempt to contact her directly will be considered harassment. She was gone. Just gone. Her closets were empty. She hadn't even said goodbye. The relief was so profound I almost threw up. She'd just confirmed it was over. She'd just given me an out. The first meeting was at Slade's office. All glass and chrome. Anya was there, looking like a grieving widow. Pale, tragic, beautiful. Slade was a shark in a $5,000 suit. "My client is of course devastated," Slade began, looking at a file. "However, we are prepared to make this quick and clean, given the emotional duress you've put her under." I must have looked confused. "Emotional duress?" Anya spoke, her voice trembling. "Mark, I can't. Your paranoia, your coldness. I've been so unhappy." Slade held up a hand. "Which is why we are demanding the marital home. She needs stability. We'll also be taking full possession of your 401k, as it was accrued during the marriage, and she needs a CHARAS Act distribution. We are also demanding sole custody of the dog. They wanted Shep. They wanted my dog. And naturally," Slade continued, "significant alimony. We'll be invalidating the prenup. It was clearly signed under coercion. My client was not in a sound state of mind. Her lawyer drafted the prenup," I said numbly. "A detail we will contest," Slade said with a dismissive wave. So, the house, the 401k, the dog, and $15,000 a month were willing to accept those terms today. I looked at Anya. She wouldn't meet my eyes. She was just staring at her hands. This whole thing was a script, an extraction. They weren't just divorcing me, they were trying to liquidate me. I took a deep breath. I looked at Slade. Okay, I said. Slade's smug smile was blinding. Good, I'm glad you're seeing reason. I'll have the papers drawn up. Okay, I said again, standing up. My lawyer will be in touch. Slade's smile faltered. Your lawyer? I thought we were agreeing. You made your offer. I heard it. I replied, okay. As in, I understand what you just said. Now, my lawyer will handle it. I walked out. Anya looked panicked. Just for a second. I got in my car and made 2 calls. The first was to a woman my firm keeps on retainer for complex situations. A former federal prosecutor named Velez. Diana, I said, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. I have a situation. It's not a normal divorce. It's way above your pay grade, but I need you to handle the divorce part while I handle the other part. The second call I made was to the FBI. Update 1, it's been 3 weeks. I don't think I've slept more than 2 hours a night. My life has turned into some kind of low-budget spy thriller, and I am not the hero. I'm the guy who gets shot on page 2. The FBI meeting. 2 agents, a man and a woman, showed up at my house. They didn't look like agents. They looked like my least favorite high school teachers. They sat on my couch while Shep sniffed them suspiciously. I played the video. I showed them the audio files. I explained who I was, who Anya was. Their faces didn't change. Not once. They just watched. When it was over, Agent Harris, the woman, just said, "Can we get copies of these?" They took the drives. They took Anya's consulting laptop, which she'd left wiped clean in her office desktop. They asked me 1,000 questions. No, I don't know who she was talking to. No, I don't know what the package is. Yes, that's her handwriting. Then came the hard part. "Mr. My last name," Agent Miller said, "we need you to do exactly one thing for us. Proceed with this divorce. Act like a normal, angry, petty husband. Don't let on that you know anything. We need her to stay focused on you on this civil case. We need her to think she is in control." "You want me to be bait," I said. "We want you to be a good citizen," Harris corrected me. "Your lawyer, Miss Velez, will need to read her in. This is now a federal investigation. Everything in your divorce is secondary to that." So that's my life now. I'm playing the part of the a-hole ex-husband as a cover for a counterintelligence op. The entitlement has gone nuclear. Anya and Slade are furious that I'm not rolling over. They filed an emergency motion for temporary support. The filing was creative. It claimed I was mentally unstable and financially abusive. Anya attached a therapist's note I'd never seen, claiming I suffered from severe paranoia and delusions. It was a complete fabrication. She was trying to poison the well. She knew I had the footage, and she was trying to paint me as a nut job before I could use it. Then came the dirty trick phase. Anya showed up at the house last week with a locksmith. I was in the kitchen making coffee. I heard drilling. Shep went ballistic, throwing himself against the door. I went to the door and yelled through it, "Anya, you can't be here. You have to go through my lawyer." "Mark, you bastard, let me in," she shrieked. "I need my things. You can't just keep them. I'll call the cops." "Go ahead," I yelled back. My heart was trying to escape my chest. She did. 2 local cops showed up. I opened the door a crack. Anya immediately burst into tears. "Officer, thank God. My husband locked me out. He's not well. He thinks I'm a spy or something. He won't let me get my medication." The older cop looked at me with that classic, "You're a real piece of work, buddy" expression. "Sir, you need to let your wife get her medication." This is the part of real life they don't show in movies. The cops don't care about your side. They just want the crying woman to stop crying. "Officer," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "This is a civil matter. Here is the email from her attorney stating she had vacated the home and all communication must go through counsel. She is not allowed here without a court order." "A court order? To get her pills?" The cop scoffed. "Sir, I'm just following the legal advice I was given. You can call my lawyer, Miss Velez. Here's her card." The cop took the card, annoyed. "Look, man, we don't want to come back here. Just give her what she wants." "I can't. I'm sorry." He sighed, angry, and went back to Anya. "Ma'am, he's not letting you in. We can't force him. It's a civil issue. You have to go to court." Anya's face changed. The tears stopped. Instantly. She looked at me, right through the crack in the door, with pure, undiluted hatred. You will regret this, Mark. You have no idea. She and the cops left. I slid down the door and just sat on the floor petting Shep. The artifact showed up 2 days later. That's what Velez and I call it. It's a text from Anya breaking her own lawyer's rule. Anya, I don't care about the furniture. I want the Matryoshka doll from the mantelpiece. It was my grandmother's. It's the only thing I care about. I'll trade you the dog for it. Trade me. My dog. I looked at the nesting doll. It was a tacky, hand-painted thing she'd always kept in the office. I never knew her grandmother. I'd bet my 401k her grandmother wasn't a sweet old babushka. I showed the text to Agent Harris. Don't touch it, she said. That's the package. She's getting desperate. The hearing for your prenup is next week, right? Yeah, the hearing on the prenup's validity and her emergency support. Good, Harris said. We'll be there. Just act normal. Update 2, this is it. The last update, it happened this morning. I'm still processing. I feel hollowed out. We were in family court, room 304. It's not a grand courtroom, just a drab room with bad lighting and a seal of the state on the wall. It was me, Miss Velez, Anya, and her lawyer Slade. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Judge Al-Jamil, looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Slade started. He was in full peacock mode. Your Honor, this is a simple case of spousal abuse, financial and emotional. My client, a vulnerable woman, has been cut off by her vindictive husband. He has frozen all assets, he has locked her out of her home, and he is trying to enforce a prenup that was, frankly, predatory. Predatory, Judge Al-Jamil said, raising an eyebrow. Counsel, my notes say your firm drafted this prenup on behalf of your client. Slade didn't miss a beat. A detail that proves her state of duress, Your Honor. She was so intimidated by Mr. My last name that she sought to protect herself, however she could. And now he is hiding behind this document to avoid his responsibilities. He has even, and I apologize for the absurdity of this, developed a paranoid delusion that my client is a Russian spy. Slade laughed. A big, hearty, can you believe this guy laugh. Anya on cue dabbed her eyes with a tissue. The judge looked at me, and she looked ticked. Mr. My last name, I don't know what games you're playing, but this court does not have time for them. A spy? This was it. I looked at Ms. Velez. She gave me a tiny nod. Velez stood up. She's a small woman, always wears sensible shoes. She radiates calm. Your Honor, Velez said, we agree. This court does not have time for games, which is why we are perfectly happy to abide by the prenup. We have no intention of contesting it. Now Slade looked confused. But, Your Honor, their counter-motion. Our counter-motion, Velez said, is to have this entire divorce proceeding annulled on the basis of fraud. Fraud? The judge asked. Yes, Your Honor. The prenup Mr. Slade drafted was designed to protect family assets. We are here to discuss the origin of those assets. We believe the marriage itself was a component of that fraud. Anya, who had been playing the victim, suddenly sat bolt upright. Slade was sputtering. This is slander. They have no proof. They're just lashing out. Actually, Your Honor, Velez said, we do have proof. My client is a very diligent record keeper. He has video and audio recordings from his home office. Anya went white, not pale. White. He has footage, Your Honor, Velez continued, of Mrs. Anya's last name discussing her consulting business. Specifically, her discussions around asset extraction, firewalls, and her admission that her husband, my client, was a useful idiot to provide cover. She said this, I should add, while speaking fluent Russian. Slade was on his feet. Objection. Illegal recordings, inadmissible. This is character assassination. They're admissible in a civil fraud case, counsel. The judge snapped, now leaning forward, all boredom gone. Ms. Velez, are you prepared to show this court? That's when Anya ran. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stood up so fast her chair fell over and she bolted for the courtroom door. I'd brought Shep with me. I told the court he was a service animal, which wasn't technically a lie. He was a K9. I couldn't bear to leave him home. He was under my chair, and as soon as Anya bolted, he shot up, barking, straining at his leash. Anya got to the door. She yanked it open, and there they were, Agent Harris and Agent Miller. 2 marshals behind them. Anya just froze. Her hand was on the doorknob. Her face. That's the part I'll never forget. It wasn't fear. It wasn't anger. It was annoyance. like a CEO who just found out her flight was canceled. The sheer profound arrogance of it. She truly believed she could just walk away. Anya's preferred fake last name, Agent Harris said, holding up her badge. You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit economic espionage and violations of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Slade's jaw was literally open. He looked from Anya to the agents to me, and back to Anya. This is a joke. Mark, you did this. Anya didn't say a word. She looked back at me. Her eyes were black. She wasn't my wife. She was just a person in a very nice suit who had just failed a mission. One of the marshals stepped forward and put her hands behind her back. The click of the handcuffs was the loudest sound I've ever heard. Judge Al-Jamil just stared. Well, I believe we have our answer on the fraud claim. Ms. Velez stepped forward and quietly handed a file to the bailiff. Your Honor, this is a motion from the U.S. Attorney's Office to seal these proceedings indefinitely, pending a national security investigation. The judge just nodded. Motion granted. Mr. My last name, you're excused, and you have a very good dog. I just nodded, grabbed Shep's leash, and walked out. Velez and I passed Slade, who was slumped against the wall, his face the color of putty. Well, Velez said, pressing the elevator button, that's one way to handle an alimony claim. Final update. It's been 8 months. I'm writing this from a new house in a new town. My company transferred me. The FBI strongly suggested I relocate. They called it a precaution. I call it running away. The divorce was annulled. The marriage was a fraud from the start. A sham. I kept the house, which I'm now selling. I kept my 401k, and I kept Shep. Anya wasn't a spy in the James Bond sense. She was a high-level corporate operative. She worked for a shell company owned by a foreign competitor. Her job was to marry people like me, mid-level tech guys with network access, and use that cover to siphon proprietary data, trade secrets, algorithms, client lists. She'd done it twice before. The package in the Matryoshka doll was a ledger detailing her payments and contacts. She got sloppy. She got arrogant. She thought I was a spineless idiot, and she miscalculated. She took a plea deal. She's going to a federal prison for a very, very long time. Her family assets were all seized. Slade? He got disbarred. Turns out he wasn't just her lawyer, he was the firm's lawyer. He was on retainer for the shell company. He knew, maybe not all of it, but he knew the money was dirty. He's facing his own set of charges. As for me, I'm in therapy. It's one thing to be cheated on. It's another thing to realize your entire 10-year relationship was a business transaction for the other person. That every I love you was a line item. That the person you shared a bed with was, quite literally, a foreign agent sent to bankrupt you and steal your company's secrets. I don't have trust issues. I have a trust firewall. The justice doesn't feel like a victory. It just feels quiet. I didn't win anything. I just survived. I didn't get revenge. I just got out of the way while her own arrogance finally caught up with her. She didn't lose because I was smart. She lost because she was greedy. Shep is asleep at my feet. He's 12 now. His muzzle is all gray. He's a good boy. He was the only one who was real the whole time. I guess that'll have to be enough.